In this video, we're going to go over everything that you need to know to take the T7 exam from home in a proctored environment. We're going to go over the most common issues and mistakes that students experience so that you do not experience these issues. We're going to go over the pros and cons for taking the test at home or taking it in person. I'll do a quick screen share to show you how to actually register for the test, and we'll answer some of your questions as well as the most frequently asked questions so that you can get those answered. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. We'll answer all of your questions. And we're also going to clarify the tech requirements and the home kind of area that you're taking the test, the requirements for that. So we have a little something special for you in the first comment that is pinned on this video. I want to make sure you guys check that out. I think you'll like it. My name is John from Smart Edition Nursing, and we help students pass the T7 exam so that you can feel more confident going into the test so that you can pass and get accepted to your school's program. Now, if you find this video helpful, make sure you like and subscribe. We have at least a dozen videos coming out in the next couple weeks, so I want to make sure you guys are getting notified when those videos come out. You can check out the links in the description below. We have tons of helpful resources, our free practice test, free mobile app, our free Facebook study group, our online course, our print book study guide, tons and tons of stuff to help you guys get prepared for the test. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing that you need to do before you even sign up or think about taking the test from home or in person is that you need to check with your school. Some schools don't allow you to take the test remotely. Most do, but some don't, but you want to make sure that that's going to be an option for you. You want to check with your school before registering and get crystal clear on different things like their test retake policy. Some only let you take the test a certain amount of times, or you have to wait before you take a retake, so you want to be clear on all that. You want to know what the required scores are to get into the program, the minimum scores, and you want to know any deadlines that they have so that you can know when you need to plan to take the test. Don't wait until the last minute. In case you do need to retake the test, you want to leave yourself enough time to do that. Now let's talk about the differences between remote testing and in-person testing. The answer there is that there's really no difference at all. The test is going to be exactly the same. It's not like different if you're taking it at home or not. It's going to be the same exact test. You need to have your photo ID. You need to have your ATI username and password. Proctors are going to be monitoring you while you take the exam in either scenario, kind of looking to make sure you're not doing anything that's disruptive type behavior or misconduct, things that would get you dismissed or your score not be valid. So you can read out loud, you can stretch in your seat. If you cough, that's okay. Just use common sense when you are taking the test. But yeah, in either way, you're going to have a proctor watching you take the exam. It's going to be the same 209 minutes, 170 questions. You'll have a calculator. You can use scratch paper. You'll have a bathroom break. All those things are going to be the same whether you take it at home or if you take it remotely. So the big question is, what's better? Which one should I do? And really, it's a personal preference. But some things that you might want to consider is like if you're worried about arriving late or driving and there's a lot of traffic in your area, or being in an unfamiliar environment is not comfortable for you, then you might want to do it remotely. For some people who are not tech savvy, and there's some of these tech requirements that you need to make sure you have all this set up right. If you have like roommates or big families or not really a good space in your home to do it that's private, then it might be better to go to a testing center for you. So instead of thinking about like what's the best or what's the easiest in terms of the test, it's really thinking about what's easier or better for you. So take some of those things into consideration. Now, when you do take the test from home, there are some common issues that can happen. And when I say common, I mean they are, for the most part, rare, but when there are issues, it's usually the same common ones. So there's like glitches with the system where people can't access the test when they go to take it from home, or issues with the proctor. So again, these are rare, but they do happen, so just be aware. If you're tight on time, it's best to go in person because again, you don't want to avoid the technical issues. And when I mean tight on time, like your application is due on Friday and you're taking the test on Wednesday. If you do it from home, you have those issues, you have to reschedule, that's going to mess everything up. So if you're tight on time, it's better to take it in a test center. And some of these common issues that you might see are like your computer freezing, or not having your correct assessment ID and not being able to get that together in time to proceed with the test. The time zones are something that we hear all the time in our Facebook study group. There's Pacific, Eastern, the test is scheduled in Central Time. That can throw people off, so just be super, super clear you're paying attention to the time zones and when your test is going to be according to the scheduled time zone, which is Central Time for taking the test from home. So just always double check that stuff and make sure you know all the answers to your questions. So I'm going to go ahead and take 1 minute just to show you how to actually sign up for the test on the ATI website.
Okay, so let's take a quick look at actually registering for the test. When you are on the atitesting.com website, go to TEAS and register for the TEAS. And you'll see the options to do the TEAS online or in person. For the sake of this video, we're going to do register for the online. And then you're going to pick your program type. So institution, again, that's if you're doing it in person, and remote is what we're looking at. Nursing is like your RNs and other nursing programs. Allied health, those are your dental hygienists, physical therapists, those types of programs. So you should know which one you're in. I'm going to do nursing, and I'll pick a date for, let's say, later this month. Now, the important thing to note here is that these times are central time. So you don't want to set yourself to be taking a test at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning if you didn't mean to. Just make sure you pay attention to that and convert it to your time zone so you know what time you need to take it in your time zone. So I'm going to select the time. We'll confirm everything here. Then on this page, it has those technical requirements and information about the dry run and other things that are covered in this video. If you do need transcripts for the test, you can order those here. Go to continue registration. And then we are on the checkout page. So from here, if you go to proceed checkout, it'll ask you to log in or create a username and a password to log in. And that's all there is to it. So this is pretty easy. So let's go ahead and get back into the video.
All right, so now that you're all signed up, we can talk about the requirements for the area or the room that you're taking the test and the technical requirements. Then when it comes to your testing area, you cannot use a shared space. Libraries are a no-go. Your friend's house where there's people walking around, you cannot do that. You must be in a private room. You cannot have any interruptions, no distractions. They're not even going to start the test for you. So that's really important. You need to have like a well-lit room and be in a private area. Now, when it comes to the technical requirements, most of these are going to kind of be default on your computer, so you don't necessarily have to worry about too many of them, but there are things that you do need to make sure you have. So you do need to use the Google Chrome browser. You can't use Safari or Firefox or anything else you have. You need to make sure you have Chrome. You need to enable the JavaScript and cookies on the Google Chrome browser. This is something that's usually default, so you probably don't need to worry about that. But again, the next thing we'll talk about is the dry run, and it's really important to do the dry run because it flushes out all these technical issues if you do have them. When it comes to the microphone and the camera, you can have an internal microphone or camera like the one your computer has, or you can have an external one, that's fine as well. And you need to ensure that you have fast internet. Most 99.9% of people are going to be okay on internet, but if you know that you live in a really rural area or you're way in the mountains or something, you might want to just make sure you need between 0.5 and 1 megabytes per second. And you can do these like speed tests online. If you just Google it, you'll find websites that will test your internet speed, but for the most part, people are going to be good. So this brings us into the dry run. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to do this dry run and to do it a couple days in advance, at least 2 or 3 days. When you do the dry run, it's going to launch the testing platform as if you were doing it on test day. And if you have issues like the pop-up blocker or cookies or any of those things that we just talked about, those issues are going to be presented at that time, not right before you're about to take the test and you end up having to reschedule. So because of this, it's just super, super important. Do not skip this. Do it ahead of time. And if you do have technical issues, you're going to have to fix them. So you want to leave yourself enough time to do that. So we can talk about some of the questions that we hear all the time in our Facebook study group. There's a lot of discussion going on about taking the test from home. One is like, how much time do you need? And ATI says plan for 4 hours maximum. It'd probably be less, but you should at least plan for that. Can you reschedule the test if you need to? You can reschedule the test within 48 hours. It's a $15 charge, but you can do that. A lot of people ask about accommodations if they have like learning disabilities or something like that. You can get testing accommodations. You need a a note from a doctor or a physician that outlines what the disability is. And you do need to leave 30 days for that to get processed and approved, so you can't submit it 2 days before. Can you have bathroom breaks? Yes, again, this is going to be the same whether you take it in person or at home. You get a 10-minute bathroom break after the math section, which is halfway through the test. So that'll be the same in person or at home. People ask about the room scan and kind of what does that involve. You do have to like show your room to the proctor so that they can see that there's not people in the room. They can test your audio and your video, see that you don't have glares on your screen, make sure you don't have really dark room. You need to be pretty well lit. They need to be able to kind of see your face. You need to be able to show your ID, so it needs to be well lit. And you'll need to show your desk area so that there's not anything there that shouldn't be there. So let's talk about that. What do you need on test day? What should you have in your area? You definitely want to prep your computer, and that's really like being fully charged, or better yet, really, if you can have it plugged in, that's the better way to go. Again, a 4-hour maximum. If you're on a quarter battery life, it could die. You don't want that, so best to have it plugged in. Prep your desk so that there's nothing on there that shouldn't be. Have your pen and paper ready. Have your government ID ready. That desk should be clean. Make sure you log in early, at least 30 minutes before, because again, if you have some issues, you don't want to be logging in 5 minutes before the test, so just make sure you leave yourself plenty of time. ATI, you can see all those instructions on their website. We'll put some links to that in the description. So when it comes to the test day, what you can actually expect is, again, start that process 30 minutes ahead of time and go to atitesting.com and you log in with your ATI account. Once you are logged in, you click on the test tab, and if you have your ATI exam card, you click begin. If you don't have the ATI exam card, you can select add product. You add in the assessment ID that was provided to you in an email that you should have gotten from ATI. And then once the proctor has approved you to start the test, you can click the begin button and you are off and running and you are taking the test. So, just make sure that all this stuff is squared away. The proctor will not approve you to start the test if it's not. So we know it can be kind of scary and overwhelming and just preparing for the test. And then when you want to throw in taking the test from home and these technical requirements and you don't want to mess things up, otherwise you have to reschedule. There's all that stuff to worry about. Studying for the test should not be one of the things that should be stressing you out. That's why Smart Edition Nursing offers all of our resources, all of our free resources, our online course, our study guide books. Everything is in one place for you so that you don't even have to think about what's going to be on the test. Is it on the test? Is it not on the test? Are these good resources? Are these practice questions accurate or not? You don't have to worry about all that. We take care of all that for you, so that studying should be the easiest part of this whole process. So with all that said, make sure you join our Facebook study group. It's an awesome community, lots of helpful information, and students all helping each other, so I want to see you there. And again, just make sure you get all this stuff squared away. So with all that said, we hope to see you guys on the next video and the next 12 videos that we have coming out in the next couple weeks. Good luck on the test, and we'll see you in the next video.